Welcome to my one-year ownership review of my 2023 Rivian R1T Quad Motor Large Pack Adventure Package. I purchased it used in March of 2025, and it is now March of 2026. At the time when I purchased it, BC had a used vehicle program where you would save the PST on any used vehicle purchase. So I got to save 7% on that. I did a 6-month ownership review, and at the time we had 6,000 kilometers on at 6 months. Since then, my wife has changed it to a daily driver for her, and we've now put on 17,500 kilometers in the 1 year. So I'm going to go over things that I've done, and we'll get into it. So things I've done, basically not too much. I've put PPF wrap on the front, so full front wrap for PPF through J-Wrap in Richmond. Excellent. I totally recommend it. I should have actually done the full car because it washes off nicely. I like the PPF. And then I had a windshield replacement. First time my wife drove it, she got a crack in the windshield, and so I had to get the windshield replaced. I did call Rivian to go through them for the windshield replacement, and they don't deal directly with ICBC. So the only body shop in Lower Mainland that they deal with third party is Kermac Collision Auto Body in Port Coquitlam. I called them up, and it's actually their sister store next door, the Reborn Auto Body, that does the work for Rivian, but they deal directly with ICBC, so I had it done there. It took about 3 weeks for them to get the glass. Once they did, they just scheduled me an appointment. It was done same day. So that went well. The service center, I've only had it in for one visit at the service center. There was a few things on my list to go through. One of them was the first one was the hood alignment. So the left hood on the left side was unaligned, so they just realigned that. There was a clothing hook behind the seat here that rattled and jiggled every time you touched it, and they had to replace a screw on that. It was stripped out or something, so they did that. The gear tunnel wouldn't pop out on the driver's side. Passenger side was fine, but the driver's side didn't move it millimeter maybe, so they had to readjust that. They did that. Let's see what else. The auto wipers were totally intermittent. Didn't matter if it was auto mediums, low, high, didn't matter. They just never really worked properly. So they had to recalibrate those, and they seem to work pretty good now. The charging pad was very intermittent, especially with iPhones. My Android phone seemed to work always, but my wife's iPhone had some intermittent problems. So they replaced it with the Gen 2. And it seems to be still hit or miss on the iPhone, but it seems to charge the iPhone on the driver's side anyway. So that's a bonus. And then there was a clunky noise when I pushed the accelerator and then let off the accelerator. It turned out that was a half shaft, so they replaced those under warranty, and that was good. And then proactively, when it was in, they also tightened the hub knuckle fasteners at all 4 locations. They cleaned the portable charging pins and installed 3 new seals, and proactively changed my 12-volt battery. My favorite features. Let's see. The power and speed, number one. It's stupidly fast, and I love it. Don't get to use it all the time, but if you need to just get ahead of someone or something, it has all the power you need. The adjustable height suspension height is very useful as well. Sometimes parkades are anywhere. I've had to park into parkades anywhere from 6.2 and up. So it's nice. I can just throw it down in sport suspension lowest, and I know that I can clear that as opposed to damaging the roof or anything. So adjustable height suspension. I will say though, it rides like ass, technical term. If it's in low suspension, it's totally just infuriating. So it's way too stiff and way too bumpy. You feel absolutely everything. It's in sports suspension. So I don't ride around in that at all, but it's a nice feature to have. And the frunk, we use the frunk all the time, especially grocery shopping, going to Costco, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just so easy, so convenient. Just pop it open, throw your shit in there. So it's pretty good. Favorite features added through OTA updates. So I mentioned in a previous video, the auto tilting rear mirrors. I had a Pathfinder before, and I love that feature, and they brought it in through an OTA update shortly after I got the truck. So now when I throw it in reverse, the mirrors will tilt down so I can see the lines and everything if I'm trying to park. The Google Maps integration now, Rivian used to have their own maps. Through an OTA update, they brought in Google Maps, and it is so much nicer. It works flawlessly. It's great. And then the new energy and charging menu that they brought in is kind of cool. It's quite neat, and it's just something we just didn't have before, and they just brought it in, makes it like a new truck. Since my wife is a daily driver of this, I asked her favorite features, and she came up with a few. So she says it's very comfortable. So as a daily driver, and even on road trips, it's the seats are super comfortable. We've never had issues with back pain or anything like that. It's comfortable. The technology, she came from a 2016 Honda HR-V, and not much technology in that. She has no, wireless anything, nothing, no CarPlay, no Spotify, no nothing. So she likes the technology in the car. She also likes the height of the vehicle. She likes being able to see over other vehicles. She finds that very helpful. She's used to her HR-V in traffic, and she just sometimes can't see around things. So she likes the height of the vehicle here. And then she likes the weight of the vehicle also. So being a heavy vehicle, it's about 7,000 pounds. She likes the fact that she doesn't hydroplane. So going through any puddles, it's here in Vancouver, it rains a lot, especially this winter. I mean, we saw 2 months straight of rain, and it was just ridiculous. So she likes the fact that it's just heavy enough that she doesn't hydroplane. Some improvements needed. So the highway driving assistance is one that I like and I use quite frequently whenever we can, but it basically only works on Highway 1 essentially, and just some other minor highways in some parts, but it always cuts out. I don't mind having your hand on the wheel. Like I'll totally drive as long as it stays in the lanes and does it, slowing down everything for me. But better driver assistance is definitely needed. Maybe I'll try out one of the new Comma AIs at some point, but for now, I'll just stick with the Rivian stuff. But yeah, definitely better driver assistance, highway assistance. And then better voice. Alexa is crap. It is I used her name. Terrible integration. The main example is if I try and call one of my brother, my sister, anyone with the same last name, my mom, it just says it calls myself. It tries to call me. It's just stupid. It doesn't matter how slow I say it, how I try and pronounce it, doesn't matter. It calls me instead, which is obviously not helpful. So yeah, Alexa is crap. I don't know why they wouldn't integrate Gemini since they've integrated Google, but maybe that'll come, and that's a hope. My wife had a couple. She says it's hard to park. Now, I don't find this at all because I'm used to it, but she's used to a smaller vehicle, so she finds it hard to park. She's getting used to it. It's getting better. It's much, she's been driving it for 6 months now, so 8 months. So she's definitely better at it, but she still doesn't like it compared to her tiny vehicle. And then she mentioned also the lane departure is quite naggy. So this is a setting. I have it set to early detection, but yeah, it whenever you're just driving down, it thinks you might be crossing a line, even though you're totally in the middle of the lane. So maybe I can change that out of early detection, but I thought the safety of early detection would be better. So that is that. I mean, we've taken this multiple road trips. We've done Whistler, Oliver, Leavenworth, Washington, took it up to Nelson. It's been a great road tripper. It's fantastic. The only thing I can complain is the range, but you know what? Charging is not bad at all. We usually stop for a little snack and charge all we get, and we usually end up overcharging. So that works out. But yeah, the price of these vehicles right now for a used R1T, I've seen anywhere between 75 and 90K. It's a total one-car solution. Like, you don't need anything else really. If you can get away with one car, this is the car that does everything. We rarely drive my wife's car. We take the truck everywhere we go. We maybe have put 1,000 kilometers on her car last year since we switched her to full-time driving this, because we take this on every road trip. We take it everywhere we go. It's cheaper to operate than her HR-V, which is just crazy. So yeah. My main gripe is that since we put her on an insurance, ICBC insurance is just expensive. So it's not a gripe with the truck. It's a gripe with the insurance companies. It's a very expensive truck to repair. Last year, my insurance for the year was $2,800. This year it was over 31, and that's because we changed it to and from work over 15 kilometers for my wife to drive it. So $3,100 a year for insurance when you have full discounts and everything is quite steep. But again, expensive car to repair. I get it. overall, I am thrilled with this truck. It's been so nice. Maybe I'll do a video totaling up the total cost of charging for the year, and then it's 90%, 99% spent at home. It's just a few road trips we've done that we put some Tesla superchargers, EA station, etc., but some flow charger networks. But yeah, maybe I'll do a vehicle or update on that. But overall, it's the best vehicle I've ever owned. I mean, I can't say anything bad about it. It is by far the best vehicle I've ever owned. It's a total one-car solution. It can do everything. It can keep up with sports. It drives like a sports car. It can go off-road. It can tow. I mean, anything you want to do, this truck can do. So, yeah, it's fantastic. I would totally recommend anyone who's interested in one to do it. We still have our reservation in on the R2. It's a little sad that it's been delayed now to 2027 in Canada. But hey, that gives us time to get the new radar, LiDARs in and everything. So by the time we get it, it should be good. But yeah, if you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. I read every comment. I mean, there's not usually many, but I read them all. And yeah, if there's something you'd like to see in an upcoming video, let me know. Thank you. Have a good day.